Alright guys, I just did a big ass long video on squats, but I forgot to go over box squats and why they are what they are and why they're special and why it's something that you should totally do, especially if you're beginning, but also in general, right? So basically, one theory as far as building strength and whatnot is that there are points where we tend to be weaker. And it has to do, again, look at my science videos on exercise science, and I go through that a little bit, especially in the anatomy portion of it. But when we look at the muscle fibers, right, how far in the grip and how many grips that they have is where they're going to be stronger. So when we are in this position, my biceps are the weakest position they possibly can be in because there are fewer bonding points on that. Again, look at the video I did on sliding filament theory. It might just be muscular anatomy, but that's when I get into this full extension, that's going to be my weakest point and the point that I'm most likely to have injury, right? So if I'm doing a push-up, right, I get all the way down here. Now my pecs are in their longest position. They're at their weakest position, right? So when we disengage and we put new load on our muscles in a range of motion, whether it's deadlift, squat, push-up, whatever, if we disengage those muscles and re-engage them in that position, we get stronger in that position. So when we're talking about a box squat, which I've got a nice chair here, but I'm not going to put any weight on it because I love my mats. So basically what I'm looking to do is when I come down here, I could rest here and completely disengage my legs, right? Which is really what you're trying to do when you're doing a box squat. Now, the reason why I put it so early in the program is not just to strengthen your leg in that range of motion, but also to make sure you're going to depth, right? Because right here, right, if I go down into that squat, okay, I know that I've gotten at least close, and I know how deep I've gotten, right? And this is below my knee line, so technically speaking, it should be at least at 90 there, right? So that's why I gave it to you, is so that you guys get to that depth every time. But if I get down to that depth, and then I relax my muscles on that and then re-engage them, so I'm not resting down there, I'm just taking half a second to disengage my quads and my glutes, and then I refire them in that range of motion. So when you have a heavy weight and you're getting close to that point where you're like really wanting to fail in that position, you're already practicing and you're already strengthening that, so you're stronger in that lower range of motion. And if you're fucked, you're sitting on a chair, you're sitting on a box, right? You're not going to have as much risk as far as getting injured because you're on something that is supporting you in that moment. And you could even have your muscles resting a little bit in that position. So there are advantages to do it. I don't think you should do it all the time, but it is a good thing to kind of start off with. And there was another thing I was going to say about that because it was really important, and I... Bloop. So... apologize. When I'm doing a box squat, positioning wise, like I can do it with a physio ball if I'm trying to find depth, right? If I have it pinned or if I have it on one of the risers, little boxes that build up the risers, I can have that and I just want to touch it, and that just, again, is going to teach me depth. But that was what's really important, is when I touch my object, whether it's a box or anything, I don't want to fall back on it, right? So again, my shoulders and my heels are in one line. My ass is going to go wherever my ass goes. If I am trying to find that box and I'm really pushing my butt back to do that, I'm changing my squat form and I'm teaching myself bad habits, and I don't want to do that. So I want to just, my butt should go right down to the lip of whatever I'm sitting down on, and it should be very gently, lightly touching that space, and I'm not falling back or trying to find it, right, as far as trying to push back. Granted, I have done that sometimes with clients. When a client like squats and they're going way too forward, I sometimes will hold a physio ball behind them, not that they're going to touch on depth, but I want them to push it back, and it gives me an opportunity to move that ball to where their butt should be as they're going down, and so they're going down and they're finding that spot, especially with deadlifts. So there you go, that's box squats.